Hey friend, in this video I have the honor of trying out Taped Spaces, a reverb plugin from the new founded company Halflight Audio, and I'm going to evaluate whether or not this is an essential addition to my reverb plugin collection, who this plugin is for, and whether or not it's worth it compared to the price. Let's go! So this is the plugin, Taped Spaces by Halflight, and the concept here is creating atmospheric and vibey sounds. So it's sort of like a sound design plugin. It has 7 different characters, starting with the Luft, which is Norwegian for air, and the pianist, nightshade, moon-chamber, wearing thin, sleeper car, and soft sky. And all of these present different vibes or atmospheres. As you can see, colors, you can call them as well. You have a low cut and a high cut, which is pretty normal in the reverb plugin world. Practical to have. The length or decay knob. You have a mix knob with 100% wet or dry, and then you have the output knob, which also can be really good to have in some cases. And then you have some additional settings. You can edit the presets, toggling this one, and then you can make your own presets if you wanna. You can display the parameter values on and off. I like to have them off so I don't see the numbers, like so. I'll turn it on for demonstration's sake. And then you have the filter state latch on or off. If you start tweaking the filter, it will automatically turn on. If you have it set to off, it will remain off, as you see here. I'll put it on and start tweaking, and it will automatically come back on like this. This is just for faster workflow. And then you have some presets. There are 10 in total, including the initial presets. Those were the technicalities. Without any further ado, let's jump in. The context, I'll play back.
Se på en mic, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken hele natta. Bare klikk, det er kjipt å bare slappe av. Slakke helt, sette seg og bare jakta.
Here we have a drum loop. Let's just solo it out and listen without. And then with the Valhalla vintage verb, which is set basically to more or less the same. Let's listen. So as you could hear here, the Luft setting made the most sense because it has minimal coloration to the sound. I figured this worked the best, but I'll show you what happens when I start putting on the different color settings. Listen up. So as you can see, there are different color settings here without exaggerating. Okay. And obviously the Luft setting was most suited here. Now let's head over to another source material that has other needs. There's a sound here that really needed some expanding to be made a bit bigger. Listen to this. This is a big reverb with the Pro R. A big verb, I've called it. 3.51 seconds of decay time, and all of these other maximalistic functions that are included in the Pro R. Look at the contrast between these two reverb plugins. So you have a little and you have a lot. And sometimes, of course, sometimes you want a lot. You want these tweaking possibilities here and the EQ curves and whatever, but sometimes you just want to have a simple life. And here comes the Taped Spaces. I found that the nightshade was really suitable to this sound. I can show you without and with. A lot fuller. You see, I have 1.5 seconds of decay here as opposed to 3 point something in the Pro R, but I think this color setting here makes up for a lot of more things going on. So I have the Nightshade. I kind of like the Moon-Chamber as well, and I also like the Soft Sky on this, but the winner was the Nightshade in this instance, but I'll show you the Moon-Chamber as well. And the Soft Sky. Soft Sky is a lot bigger. It was a hard decision, but I finally landed on the Nightshade. It was a bit more subtle, and this song right here doesn't need that big of a reverb tail. It's more of a boom bap track, so it's really subtle. I will also back off a bit.
Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken hele natta. Bare klikk, det kjipt å bare slappa. Slakke helt, sette seg og bare jakta. Se på en mygg, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken hele natta.
Yeah, I like that. And if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell. I would really appreciate it. Moving on to the verse.
Se på en mygg, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken hele natta. Bare...
So you see what I have here is quite long decay time, 1.75 seconds of pre-delay. That's something that also lacks in the taped spaces, that there's no pre-delay here. So in this one I had selected a pianist. I wanted a bit more color on the vocals, and this is also not much at all. So listen first to the Valhalla and then to the taped spaces.
Se på en mygg, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken. Se på en mygg, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år.
It's the weirdest thing that you have 0.8 of length here and 1.75 seconds in the Valhalla Vintage Verb. It's weird. I think it has to do with the color settings, or maybe it's another system of measuring when it comes to length. I don't know. I would guess this is 0.8 seconds, but who knows. Anyways, so that was the verse. I can just show you also the other color settings here.
Se på en mygg, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken hele natta. Bare klikk, det kjipt å bare slappa. Slakke helt, sette seg og bare jakta. Se på en mygg, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken hele natta. Bare klikk, det kjipt å bare slappa. Slakke helt, sette seg og bare jakta. Se på en mygg, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken hele natta. Bare klikk, det kjipt å bare slappa. Slakke helt, sette seg og bare jakta. Se på en mygg, du kan kalle meg for pappa. Snart 40 år, fortsatt våken hele natta. Bare klikk, det kjipt å bare slappa. Slakke helt, sette seg.
Yeah, so what do you think? Are you going to jump on a 14-day trial of this plugin or not? Let me know in the comments. Did you like the plugin? Did you like the concept of it? And if you try out this plugin on your own source material, on your own music, on your own mixes, let me know in the comments whether or not this is a fit for you. Kind of chilly. Norway. Chill in Norway. So is this a valuable plugin in my plugin collection? So I have the Arturia Rev Plate 140. I have the Crystalline from Baby Audio. I've got the Pro R from Fabfilter that I showed you just before. Got the Reverb plugin from Platone Studio. Got the Super Plate from Sound Toys. Universal Audio 480L. Of course, the Valhalla Vintage Verb and the Supermassive. In addition to the stock offerings from Logic, such as Chroma Verb. So that's basically my reverb arsenal. I don't think those are few plugins, and I'm a minimalist, so I like to keep it simple and plain. But in my experience, when I need something with character, I start tweaking one of my go-tos, such as the Valhalla Vintage Verb or the Super Plate from Sound Toys, and I spend more time tweaking than actually mixing. In those scenarios, I would be better off just loading up a completely different plugin and get the sound I want more or less from the get-go. Another scenario is when I want something to be really stereo and I want to use effects to achieve that. I can have one reverb on the left side of the channel for a background vocal, for example, and I can have another one on the right side, and then I want something completely different with different characters. So as you saw in this video, the Pro R offers something completely different than the taped spaces. So having one on the left channel and one on the right would be a good fit. So who's this plugin for? I think mainly for producers who are making beats, making sound designers who want something special, atmospheric, some unpredictableness in their sounds. But it can also be applied in mixing situations when you want to add something really special down there in the subtle, in the background. I think that's really fitted for those who only does mixing as well. I think the more reverb plugins you have, the more characters you have available in your toolkit. But on the other hand, you don't want to have too much, so it's really down to preference. So is Taped Spaces worth the price of $45? It really depends on where you're at. If you compare it to, for example, the Valhalla Vintage Verb, which is $50, I think, it might be a bit steep because Valhalla has a lot more in the plugin than the Taped Spaces, but what it doesn't have is the simplicity and the fastness and the uniqueness. So it really comes down to what you would prefer. I don't think it's an expensive plugin. I have reviewed other plugins that are a lot more expensive than this one, especially in terms of features. I think the main benefit of this unit is the uniqueness, what you can get out of it, especially when it comes to sound design, but also in the mixing process. That will create that extra little spark in your mixes. Are you going to download this free 14-day trial? The link is in the description, at least, if you want to give it a go. And thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure having you, and I hope I see you in one of these two videos where I go through other plugin reviews. And if you like reviews like this, consider hitting the subscribe button. And now it's getting a bit warm, I think. Whew, I'm feeling it's... Whew.